Alright guys, today we are talking about these chunkies. These are the tilapia that have been raised over the last 6 months, and as you can see, let's try to get my hand in the picture here, they're getting about hand size. And they are some little nibblers. As you can see, they're not nearly as shy anymore, and that's because I've been hand feeding them, so they've kind of gotten used to me. And today we're just going to go through and talk about them, how it's been raising them so far, what they are, and how they're being taken care of. So these are bluefin tilapia. The white ones are albinos, and then the other ones are the regular bluefin tilapia. Now there's about 25, maybe more, I forget. I think it's around 25 of them in here. I haven't bothered trying to count them. But they're all doing good. I haven't had any deaths at all, which is, best I could hope for, really. And they are being held in a 100-gallon Rubbermaid commercial pond tote thing. I don't know what you call it. You can pick them up from your local tractor store, Tractor Supply, or something like that. And then I have four air filters that are rated for 60 gallons, and that helps keep the water nice and aerated, as well as filtering out all their poops, because they do tend to make the water quite dirty. Then what I do is I take the water out of here manually, just with a jug, and I feed that to the plants because it's full of nutrients and nitrates, all the other micronutrients that your plants love. Don't mind some of these plants. The heat has been incredibly hard on them, but overall they're still doing pretty good. As far as food goes, they still get their same food for the most part as the rest of my fish, which is the Ken's Premium Super Tropical Flake. No promo there, just not sponsored or anything. This is just what I use. I find it as a good flake food that's very affordable, especially if you buy it in bulk. I buy like 10 pounds at a time, so it's pretty decent price. So they love the flake food, and in addition to that, they get this right here, which is soldier fly larvae, and this is basically crude protein for them. So this is how they get so big. Now, I said I take a bunch of water out via the jugs, which I do, but I also do just straight water changes by tilting this down and letting it flow out into the retention pond. Now, besides those two things that they eat, I also throw in any of the plants that have gotten algae all over it, as well as just clumps of algae and duckweed. And they tend to actually pretty much leave the plants alone. Like, they nibble at it. You can tell it's not healthy, but they mostly leave the plants alone, and they'll eat all the algae and duckweed and snails, things like that. Whenever I have guppies die, which does happen, I will also throw the guppies in here, and they eat those guys up. So you can't really mix them with any smaller fish. They are cichlids, so they do eat anything smaller that will fit into their mouth. These have all raised up together though, so they don't really bother each other, and they're pretty well fed, which keeps their temperaments a little calmer as well. So normally, you can tell gender on these. It's a little different than guppies. You'd have to grab one, flip it upside down, and put some dye where its pectoral fin would be, and you can tell if it's a female or male that way. I just haven't bothered doing that. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to breed them or just order another batch this winter and raise them up again. So why am I raising these? Well, I'm probably going to use them as food. These are going to be farm-raised food. Pretty much the healthiest fish that you can raise when you raise it yourself, and they should be quite tasty. But I've actually really enjoyed raising them. They are not, I don't think they're quite full grown yet. They should still get a little bigger than this. But they're really fun to raise, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's been incredibly easy to raise these. Really has been. So if you're interested in raising tilapia in your backyard, it's been a blast. Really simple. They do require quite a bit of water changes and filtration. just because they are larger fish and I'm storing so many of them in here. But other than that, all the fish are doing good. It's a little bit of a mess, and you can see how much evaporation I'm replacing. This is only about a day or two's worth, and it's about time to kick these fans on because it's getting hot. As you can see, thermometer is reading about 120. So time to kick the fans on, cool the fish off. But overall, they haven't had any problems with the heat, so I'm sure wherever you're at, it's not too hot. And let me know if you have any questions about how I raise these or anything like that in the comments. I would love to talk with you guys about it and answer what I can, as I'm pretty new to this myself. But they're pretty happy. Let's see, I bet you did like a little snack here. Let me put some soldier fly larvae in there so you can see them do that. I'm gonna set the phone down just for a second. Alright, so we got our soldier fly larva. We're just gonna put some in here. And you can see they are some aggressive eaters. Now, the first time I gave them the soldier fly larvae, they didn't really know what to do with them. So it took a couple feedings, and then they started really going after them. But now, they're big fans. And ever since I started feeding them the soldier fly larvae, in addition to the flake food, there's been a gigantic boost in their growth. So it made a big difference when you started protein packing them. And, you know, bulk feeding them, so to speak. Bulking them up. But they're great fish, and they will nibble. It doesn't really hurt, but it'll surprise you a little bit when they come up and just nibble at your finger, because they got pretty big mouths at this point. If you're from the south, I'm sure you'll be fine. You guys do some crazy stuff like noodling and stuff that I'm pretty sure most people won't know what I'm talking about, but if you do, catfish noodling is crazy, and if you can do that, you can grab these guys no problem. For comparison, here is what they looked like almost exactly 6 months ago when they were roughly, give or take a week, 3 weeks old, and I just had them come in. You can see the classic bluefin coloration and then the albinos in with them. So as you can see, there's a massive size difference here, with the smaller ones and even the larger ones in this case being around the size of a tuft of algae, about the size of a full-grown guppy, much smaller than any of the plants or anything like that. And you can see the filters I'm using in the background right there, the sponge filters. So this gives you a good idea of how large they get in about 6 months. And 6 months is about the minimum harvest range, up to about max size about a year. And when you're ordering from a farm or getting your fish from a farm, something like that, they tend to prefer a faster cycle time. So what they'll do is they'll start taking them out and harvesting them at 6 months. Now, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm going to wait for a little bit longer to see how big they actually get when I'm protein loading them as best I can, just to kind of get the most I can out of these fish and give them a bit longer to hang out and enjoy life. But that pretty much sums up what I wanted to cover with these fish. I'm sure we'll come back to them again in a few months and see how big they get from here. And of course, if there's any issues, I'll try to cover those as well. As always, I appreciate you all just for watching. If you want to support the channel even more than tossing me a like and subscribe, you can check out our website for guppies and plants. And if you're in an area or just not in the market for those and you still want to support me or the channel, check out my newly released fantasy book, Exalted, with a second one coming out here soon. That is completely optional, but I do appreciate you all just for watching, and anything you do above and beyond that is just awesome. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Anyways, I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed seeing the tilapia. Let me know if you have any questions or appreciated it. I don't know. Talk to me about what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.